Let's get it right. 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 Let's get it right.
To support President Trump.
You already know what it is, man. It's your boy Dealatofficial, and this is No Filters. Always appreciate you hitting that like button for me, subscribing to the channel so you don't miss an episode, and sharing this with the world. And of course, family, when you come in, get comfortable. Get you something to eat, get you something to drink, get you something to smoke if that's what you do. Cause you see the title, fam. Let's get into this here.
Trump's ongoing effort to make this National Guard hits the streets of Memphis to support President Trump's ongoing effort to make the city safer. It's still not clear how many troops are on the ground, but guardsmen have been spotted in multiple areas. WREG's Harrison Klopp is live downtown where he saw guardsmen patrolling the streets early this morning.
Alex, good afternoon. Those guardsmen were walking down Riverside right near Tomley Park, and if we take video right now, I'll show you what I'm talking about.
Honey in the
building. If you look closely at our video, some of those guardsmen were armed with handguns. Just a few weeks ago, Alex, Governor Bill Lee told us that the guardsmen would only carry weapons if it was requested by local law enforcement. Memphis police deny making a request to arm the guard, saying the soldiers we spotted were military police carrying their standard duty weapons. MPD also maintains that the guardsmen are providing support and will not act as frontline police. The troop deployment still has a number of critics. Earlier this week, State Representatives Justin J. Pearson and Gabby Salinas sent Governor Lee a letter questioning whether it was legal to send the National Guard to Memphis. They point to the state constitution, which says the governor can only activate the militia for a rebellion or invasion, and only if it's approved by the General Assembly. We've reached out to the governor's office for comment and are still waiting for a response. And over the last several hours, Alex, we've seen a whole lot of activity from the Memphis Safe Task Force, and we will have more on that at 4. Reporting from downtown Memphis, Harrison Klopp, your news leader, WREG, News Channel 3.
Harrison, as always, thank you very much.
At Wayfair, we bring style to every get-together. Oh, you brought wings.
You mean these wingback chairs?
Right now, some 200 soldiers from the Texas National Guard are in the Chicago area. Both Illinois and Oregon have gone to court to try and block the Trump administration from sending National Guardsmen into their cities.
But President Trump said in a cabinet meeting he won't be backing down anytime soon. Reporter Ian Lee is in Chicago.
Hours before the court even began hearing arguments, National Guard troops had already entered this immigration processing facility near Chicago, sent there by the Trump administration to protect ICE operations. Democratic leaders have fought the deployment both in court and out.
We're at a moment in which we have a federal government that has not only trampled on our Constitution, but it has declared war on American cities, and particularly Chicago.
But at a cabinet meeting at the White House, President Trump said he'll continue to deploy troops to tackle crime.
We're restoring law and order in our country. We're restoring it here, but we're restoring it right now. We're in Memphis. We're going to Chicago. We're going to other cities. Many governors are asking us to.
More than 20 states signed a legal challenge in Oregon, asking a court to block the National Guard from entering Portland. But troops are already in Memphis, where Attorney General Pam Bondi says they're supporting local law enforcement.
They were so happy to have us there. We've been making arrests left and right. So far, we made 562 arrests and seized 144 illegal guns.
Illinois' governor accused the administration of militarizing Chicago.
Do I also expect that they will push the law to its absolute limit, maybe even stepping over the line? Yes, and we will push back.
The state calls the deployment here a constitutional crisis. Ian Lee, CBS News, Chicago.
Sending National Guard troops into an American city is a tragic act. It means civil trust and persuasion have collapsed. Determining whether the president or local officials are responsible for the tragedy lies in the balance between liberty and order. Liberty without order leads to anarchy. No rights are safe. Order without liberty is tyranny. Individual freedom dies. The founders designated local officials closest to the citizens as the primary guardians of this balance. They feared a federal response might be driven by national passions and politics. But sometimes local officials fail. So what should guide a president when he steps in? A constitutional president worries not only about public safety, but liberty. Can he picture dissenters as citizens with rights or only as enemies? Does he reach for force only after all else has failed or as his first response? A president must act proportionally, measuring both necessity and scope. On necessity, the constitutional threshold is not merely if there is violence in a city, but if local governance has totally collapsed. When, quote, the ordinary course of judicial proceedings has broken down, according to the Insurrection Act. But what if the president is the author of disorder? When federal officers describe protests as low energy, but the president calls the city war-ravaged, proportionality is gone. Necessity has been invented, not observed. The second aspect of proportionality is scope. Is the level of force equivalent to the harm? As Alexander Hamilton put it, national government action must be proportioned to the extent of the mischief. The framers built layers of government to make such choices slow, not easy. Killing a fly with a shotgun kills the fly, but the debris is constitutional trust. When the state meets dissent with more force than necessary, instead of persuasion, democracy suffocates. Its oxygen is trust and restraint. Without them, politics becomes an armed monologue.
Well, when it comes to shrill political invective, the fur has been flying in all directions here this week. After Donald Trump sent the troops in, the state's Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker decried it as an illegal invasion. Trump then in turn called for him to be locked up and for Chicago's Democratic mayor to be locked up. Then we got that really significant intervention in the courts yesterday, with a judge pointing out that there was no credible evidence of a rebellion in the state of Illinois and therefore no need for the troops. What we're seeing here across America is this epic struggle between presidential power and state sovereignty being played out in these big Democratic voting cities. And the message from the Democrats, the boast of the Democrats in this one now is, if Congress won't check this president's power, then Chicago will.
From Chicago to LA!
From Chicago to LA!
Immigrants are here to stay!
Immigrants are here to stay!
In the fading light of a Chicago evening, more than 1,000 gathered.
Stand up, fight back!
This city, now the latest crucible for the deafening power struggles of Trump's America.
The National Guard does not belong in our city.
The trigger, a ramping up of immigration enforcement by ICE federal agents. And now Trump's mobilization of 500 Army Reserve National Guard to the area.
We want the rape.
Against the wishes of the city and state's Democratic leaders, just as in Los Angeles this summer.
You're a veteran, how do you feel about seeing the National Guard on the streets of Chicago?
They don't belong here. The military does not belong on the streets of American City.
Donald Trump has called Chicago a war zone.
It's going to be a war zone and he keeps it up. What I mean by that is he won't get away with this and we're not going to stop.
What's going to happen next?
I'm afraid of what might happen next. That's why we're here. We need to stop it now before something really bad happens.
Make some noise, Chicago!
And with that, they began marching en masse towards Chicago's Trump Tower.
Whole city! Our city!
Chicago is a city with a very strong history of protest, so a response like this to troop deployment was always on the cards. And just as inevitable, perhaps, was it, that Trump would be targeting a city like this in the first place.
They need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. We don't want to lose.
He routinely portrays this Democratic stronghold as chaotic and crime-ridden, despite falling crime levels.
We're not going to allow this kind of savagery to destroy our society anymore.
But once again, as elsewhere, his troop deployment here has, for the time being, been blocked by the courts. A judge ruled yesterday it would only add fuel to the fire. They've pulled back outside the city, Trump thwarted for now. We've now got this ruling from the court blocking this deployment. What do you make of it?
Well, it's the court making the right decision, and Judge Perry, I think, is truly seeing sort of this deployment for what it is, a deployment with no justification.
Jesse Fuentes is a Democratic councillor on the northwest side of Chicago.
You are going to be placed under arrest.
Do you have a sign? Show warrant.
She was in the spotlight recently after being briefly handcuffed by federal immigration agents. She'd been confronting them in hospital over the apparent detention of an injured man.
Do you have a sign for this warrant?
When it comes to a city like Chicago, do you think Trump's going to accept this ruling and just walk away?
No, absolutely not. Look, Donald Trump is someone that wants to dominate, dictate, and have control. Trump has articulated that we are a war zone, but the only war zone environment that we see is the one that the federal agents are creating.
In Chicago, federal immigration raids now come packaged in cinematic slow-mo. This one featuring Black Hawk helicopters and SWAT teams. Jesse Fuentes says the impact on Chicago's immigrant communities has been profound. Even some of those born in the US, like Sal Moreno, his parents from Mexico, fear getting caught up in raids as activists claim the law's shifting in favor of racial profiling.
You're a US citizen? Yes, and I am very much worried that I can get taken away and I might not make it home. If my grandma saw this, she would have an absolute meltdown. This is not the dream that she went to chase. This isn't it.
When she came to America as an immigrant?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely hard. But we gotta keep pushing. We gotta keep pushing because really nobody else is looking out for us. We just gotta keep going.
The administration vows to escalate yet further immigration enforcement here. With illegal border crossings vastly down, the policy does have many an advocate.
Do you think it's right to let people in illegally? That's the question.
But when it comes to troops on the streets, amidst a hurricane of political feuding, the Windy City has prevailed. Chicago has defied Donald Trump's will, but they know they face a president seemingly determined to test the limits of his power in the ever-fraught battle over modern America's defining identity.
We got a breaking news story, folks. We got a brand new temporary restraining order coming out of Illinois, issued by Judge Sarah Ellis to stop journalists and members of the clergy and First Amendment protesters from being hit with the full lethality of riot control weaponry. When I give you the list of the things that the temporary restraining order has now stopped the Trump administration from using on the streets of Illinois, it will make your head pop off when you realize that this is the level of military firepower being used against American citizens, many of them journalists and members of the clergy who are doing their job on the streets. And I got the videos to prove it. Let's get to the temporary restraining order. Temporary restraining order issued just moments ago. Let me read it to you. This was a suit that was brought on the 6th of October by the Chicago Headline Club, various members of the press and free press in Chicago, and members of the clergy and protesters against them being pepper sprayed, pepper balled, shot with searing munition, tear gassed after identifying themselves or wearing the cloth of the clergy as they're protesting legitimately in DC. See, they're mixing everything up because the military and the federalized National Guard are not ready to handle civil liberties. They have not been trained on constitutional due process, equal protection, and other civil liberties rights. So they're mixing everybody together. If you're in a crowd, if you're a journalist, if you're a member of the clergy, if you're a protester, you're all the same. Pepper spray doesn't care what you're wearing. A pepper ball to the face or the car of a journalist, it doesn't care as it's being launched. The human being should care on the other side, but they're not properly trained for this. This is why we're fighting so hard to keep nationalized and federalized troops out of American cities, especially the blue ones. We just had an oral argument today in the Ninth Circuit, two Trump judges, and it's not, I was saying jump judges, and it's not looking good for keeping these troops out. But I think if anything, this order demonstrates to you why it's so important for federal judges to protect us from our own president. Here's what the restraining order says. It is ordered that the defendants, except for Trump, their agents and assigns are enjoined, blocked in this federal district from dispersing, arresting, threatening to arrest, threatening, or using physical force against any person who they know or reasonably should know is, right? It gets worse. Issuing a crowd dispersal order requiring any person to leave a public space that they believe should be there. Using riot control weapons, little d, including kinetic impact projectiles. Everything I'm going to read to you right now is being used by American citizens against other American citizens, including those who have identified themselves appropriately as journalists and members of the clergy.
You better shut up right now, because you ain't telling me nothing I don't know. Hit that like button, subscribe. You better become a member. We about to cut here right now. They about to be burnt. Ain't no way. I told y'all, we ain't writing on no headlines. We read in between the lines. And I told you, we not waiting on nobody say nothing about no World War III. We looking at it in the mix right now. This man about to pull up at your house, your home, and use riot weaponry to sustain you. And then what else is really funny to me, that people in Chicago, or not all people, but people, the level of what's going on in Chicago without no police, or just with the regular police. The regular police can't even handle Chicago. So don't sit back up in here and act like they don't need the National Guard. Because the funny part to me is you got people that's there, tired of the violence at the level that the violence is at in Chicago. But yet, they don't want the National Guard to come. Because if the National Guard come, they not going to care two F's about who this little dude is right here acting tough in the streets that then killed 25 people. But y'all don't want them to come. So this is a discussion here, family. Because the level of violence that's been going on in Chicago, they clearly been crying out like they have no help. No control. As if the police is even scared. Your local police is scared. So then all of a sudden Trump like, well, you know, we can just pull up and shut it all down. Because, you know, I got every military grade, whatever I want to deal with the world with. We could just come clean that up right quick. Come through there like a broom and sweep everybody up and be done with it in one time. Why don't people in Chicago want that? Are the people more scared of the people in Chicago that's doing the shooting, the crime, the violence, the horror, the black on black crime? Or are people more scared of them than they are of Trump and the military, the Navy, the Marines, black ops, special ops? Oh man, that ain't even a piece of it. Somebody in here, I know my family in here military, somebody in here military, give me all the branches that Trump can call right now to come in Chicago with him. While people in the streets acting like they tough. And that's funny because it's like, if the police is scared of the guys in the streets in the hood that's locking it down, keeping people out, taking over, killing, shoot them up, bang, bang, bop, bop, bing, bow, boom. 25 people killed on a Memorial Day weekend for what, why, who? Ain't no police there, can't nobody do nothing, right? That keep happening. You don't think at some point somebody wants somebody bigger to come in and control that? Because clearly nobody has no control. You're more scared of the National Guard coming in than you are? Are you more scared of the people in the hood than you are the National Guard? Are you stupid? Do you know the National Guard can just press a button and wipe your little city out? They can just press a button and wipe your little hood out. They can press a button and wrap out your little region. Yeah, press a button and you dust. You and everybody in the radius. Are you stupid? See, this is one of them times where you finally start seeing where you're talking about it's making my kind and my skin color look real bad. Because you had to think in your right mind that you thought for a second that the whole Chicago hood can handle the entire armed forces. Now you got us looking bad out here thinking that we think we can handle that. And all they got to do is press a button from a drone, press a button from a satellite, press a button from a plane, press a button from a jet. And now y'all scattered like roaches. They just spray you all. Easy work. You better get smart in Chicago. Because you can't have it both ways. You tired of the violence. You calling for help. But then when you get the help that'll shut it all down, you talking about, oh man, Trump better not come because if he do, oh, it's really gonna go crazy. Oh, it's really gonna hurt. Oh, if he don't stop, it's really gonna... Okay, so if Trump don't come, we just gonna hear about another 25 people being dead tomorrow, another 30 being dead on the next holiday weekend, another 40 just because everybody went to the club tonight. See, don't get me wrong, shooting and killing happen everywhere. Your city, my city, everybody town. But the difference is the quantity. In one night. The reason. In spite. Whatever it was. That's the difference. We in St. Louis right now. You understand me? Somebody just lost their life at Home Depot because two men was arguing. He said, who you talking to? You. Me? Who? What? And let him have it. 5 times in the chest and the face. That man went there just to probably get some mud, some paint, ruler, measuring tape, put an order in for a door, a window, get some flooring, change a key, pick up an order. His family will never see him again. When you have 30 cases of that in your city every day, oh, you need more than the National Guard in your place. Because clearly, police, government, mayor, somebody working together to get rid of people. Because ain't nobody trying to change what's going on right in front of your face. The t-shirt champ in the building, tell them what it is. Hit that like button, subscribe, become a member today. You better thank God for No Filters. Because we're here to inform, understand, and be aware. That if it walk like a, talk like a, you know what it is. And right now, I'm trying to figure out who of all of the ducks in Chicago that think the National Guard shouldn't come in there to clean up something, but y'all keep crying about clean up what's going on. Make it make sense. We cooking.
Kinetic impact projectiles, compressed air launchers, capsaicin spray, CS spray, CN gas, or other chemical irritants, 40 millimeter munitions launchers, less lethal shotguns, less lethal specialty impact chemical munitions, controlled noise and light distraction devices, right? Electronic control weapons on members of the press, protest, or religious practitioners. We've got clips, folks, from Chicago that were used as part of the record for this particular case. Let's show the clip of the member of the clergy in full gear, his own full gear, getting hit with pepper spray. Let's show that. And that's not.
Let's make sure we act like we know what's going on. Real quick, let's acknowledge real G's in the building, understanding that the first man to win $2 No Filters giveaway raffle, my daughter t-shirt champ Tone in the building. Now shout out to your family. Say he got his shirt. He gonna take a picture and let y'all know how it's coming. It's really real. Always bang. You can always win a t-shirt. $2. You see it in the chat. It's already pinned in the chat. Cash App, fam. $2. Yeah. As many as you want in there. We're going to put you in a raffle many times you need to be in so you can have your chance to win any color shirt of a classic No Filters signed by your boy Dilla T and my fam here at No Filters. All you got to do is put $2 in the super chat. Let me know what you want it for. Put $2 in the Cash App, let me know what it's going for. You can put $5 in there, get you a hoodie. Because the hoodie's coming back out this week so you can see them displayed. It's like that, family. It's been like that. It's all real. It's all love. I truly want to give back because I truly appreciate y'all coming forward and supporting your boy No Filters, Dilla T. And No Filters since day one. You know what I'm saying? So like I said, from day one, hit that like button, subscribe, become a member, turn that notification bell on. Get your chance to win a classic No Filters signed by your boy Dilla T. $2 raffles all night long. Even if it ain't in there, you know it's $2 raffles. Cash App. No Filters, family. You hear me? Tone. I appreciate your family's love, my brother. Always is like that.
The only one. We got a journalist who was hit in her car by a pepper ball and other people being taken down to the streets. Let's roll those clips.
Meanwhile, Illinois State Police are investigating after a federal agent fired a projectile at the car of one of our reporters.
The incident happened in Broadview, and that's where our investigative reporter Dave Savini is tonight. Dave?
John, Erica, journalists are here on a daily basis just trying to document what's happening here, but federal agents have been repeatedly firing projectiles at them. Yesterday, they fired into a moving car which was being driven by one of our reporters.
You are about to witness an ICE agent in Broadview fire repeated rounds of projectiles in the direction of photojournalists who are trying to document a takedown of a man who was screaming that he couldn't breathe this past Saturday.
Without provocation and acting like jackbooted thugs, ICE has attacked and detained members of the press, including an independent journalist.
In Broadview, we've documented several instances where federal officers fired chemical agents into the crowd, striking anyone in their sights, including members of the media, repeatedly. But on Sunday morning, about a block away from the detention center, it was a quiet scene. No protests at the building itself, just after 11 a.m., when one agent fired a projectile at a moving car, driven by our reporter, Asal Razai. Her window was open.
And you'll hear me multiple times have to clear my throat as I inhaled a lot of some of the powder that you saw here.
The projectile struck her car and exploded, sending a chemical powder through her open window.
An ICE agent that was masked pointed his weapon and shot directly at my car. He saw my window was open.
A CBS Chicago correspondent had chemical munitions fired at her car, where there were no protesters in sight.
The ICE facility is here. Helicopter footage from our Skywatch shows you Asal was struck over here in this lot. where there are private businesses and where we saw people driving in and out all day long.
And he shot right here. You can see the point of impact right there.
She captured this image here at the moment right before the agent shot at her car.
And I was sitting right there with my window open. A lot of it went inside of my car and on my face. I immediately felt it burning. I started throwing up.
One of our CBS photographers found her afterward on the side of her car, vomiting and gasping for air.
We're seeing that ICE just doesn't give a damn. And neither does the President of the United States. He's doing nothing to intervene to make it better.
Now, the Department of Homeland Security says no CBS reporter was attacked, but they haven't answered any of our other specific questions about this incident. Live in Broadview, Dave Savini, back to you.
Here we go.
Fam pouring water in his eyes.
No se toque la cara.
I'm Chris Pratt.
I'm Rebecca Ferguson.
You're going to freak out when you see the trailer for our new movie, Mercy.
That's what the Judge Ellis, an Obama appointee, is trying to stop. And it's a message to all of the other federal judges and the Court of Appeals up in the Ninth Circuit who are looking there from on high, suggesting that Donald Trump, because something happened in June, he can send in the National Guard, federalize now, and put troops on the streets. When you put military troops on the streets that aren't trained for local domestic law enforcement, bad things happen to other Americans. And that's what this judge is trying to stop. But I'm not done with the long list of things that can't be used based on this temporary restraining order. This is like Civil War, the movie. You gotta wear a press vest. To facilitate the defendant's identification of journalists protected under this order, the following are examples of being a journalist. Visual identification as a member of the press, such as by carrying a professional press pass, badge, or credentials, wearing distinctive clothing. Other indicia of being a journalist include not engaging in chanting, sign holding, shouting slogans, or otherwise protesting. In other words, let's separate out the journalists from the protesters. Of course, the protesters have the right not to be pepperballed in the face as well. So this is going to stay in place for 14 more days until this Judge Ellis has an opportunity to hold a full preliminary injunction hearing. And at the very same time, as all of that was going on, we had a hearing, an oral argument up at the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, which was up on Substack Live for Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel. And we had 3 judges there. Unfortunately, 2 of them were Trumpers. And it didn't go, I'll be frank, it did not go well for Oregon. On the position that people running around in chicken suits arguing against Kristi Noem does not constitute a rebellion or domestic violence. That's not what the lawyers wanted, the Trump judges wanted to hear. They might as well have been Trump lawyers. That's not what Judge Nelson or Judge Batty wanted to hear. They overwhelmed the Oregon advocate. And I've argued before the Ninth Circuit with the hot bench. I know how difficult it can be. And they argued, no, things were bad. There were hundreds of people on the streets, and they're doing this from their perch in San Francisco, in Portland, Oregon. And why can't the president? And let me just show you, let me just play for you this one clip, and you'll get the feeling that they're going to rule against Oregon and for Donald Trump at the Ninth Circuit, which used to be reliably moderate and liberal, until Donald Trump was able to appoint 1/3 of the Ninth Circuit in his first term. He hasn't even started appointing people now. By the time he's done, the Ninth Circuit might be as reliably MAGA as the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals sitting in Louisiana. Let me play the clip there.
When the president has authorized the federalization of the National Guard in Oregon, we're asking this court to look at the circumstances around when that happened.
So do we look from June 7th forward, or do we look only at September or something else?
It would make sense it's reasonable to look at around the time period when the National Guard was actually federalized. What happened in June, and we acknowledge
Isn't June around the time period of when the National Guard was federalized?
It was 4 months prior, and that is significant because there can be, and there was, a very large delta between what was going on in June and what was actually going on when the president.
So could the president have, in your view, nationalized the Guard in June?
I think we'd be having a different conversation and it would certainly be a closer call. But
And so the president loses his right to do that, in your view, because he waits to see how things turn out on the ground.
I think in the moment, the president can make the decision to manage the situation with the normal forces. And here what we have is even that situation in June. I'd point the court to, I think it was June 14th is probably the worst of the circumstances that happened. And that day, the threat of violence from the protesters lasted 2 hours. And it's with the use of normal forces that they could stop the kind of incursion of the protesters, push them back, and everyone kind of had the safety that was necessary with using the normal forces. That stands in stark contrast to what happened in California. In California, there was a span of 2 days where they had consistent and increasing protest activity, where they were penning down officers, throwing concrete chunks. They used dumpsters as battering rams to breach the facility, and the next day, the confrontation lasted for another 7 hours. Protesters boxed in officers, threw Molotov cocktails, mortar-style fireworks.
Be quiet, because that's real, because she's saying that man already federalized the National Guard, meaning he had already signed them up and made them ready legally so he could make this move. Now, as Candyman said, shout out to Candyman in the building, he says Article 10 gives the president the authority to federalize the National Guard at his discretion. Now, I believe you, because there are things that the president can take over at his discretion. And we got to understand that's just what it is. That's the point of him being a president. He don't have to check with nobody with a lot of different things. That's why you got to understand what he's doing. He's making everything fall in line with him not having to check with anybody to federalize anything, pass any bill, start or stop anything, because of the circumstances that it falls up under for him as president to do so at his discretion. They are literally moving and forcing things to end up to where he can make a decision without checking with nobody. Because whatever those issues are, they are making them line up with him not having to check in. It's making it line up with him not having to ask to do anything. Everything he's doing is creating a cause and an effect for him to be able to say, hey, Chicago going crazy that I need to take control at my discretion now. I mean, everything that's being put up, that's how he's doing it. He's setting everything up to where it falls in between the lines, concept, and the precepts of him being able to use his authority. Because whatever that issue was, it falls up under this law that uses his authority without having to check with nobody at all. So if you say it to me, that's a smart move. That's a smart move. Because now everything, that's like, again, cause and effect. You create this problem, and because of that, the cause of it is this. So we need to create this effect. And this effect that it's having has created a cause. That's a big deal. Let me know what you're thinking, Running Warrior.
They blocked traffic and burned a vehicle.
That's a little bit of the irony here, is that because the president acted in June in LA, I mean, I don't know that we have I don't know, but it seems like we don't have the same level of violence going on in LA right now. But the president acted when there was violence, and you're saying, well, if you don't hit it within a narrow window, you lose your right. That just seems unnaturally constrained. I mean, what the president did was bring in 115 FPS officials, and that has caused the violence to some degree, it seems.
So when you put all this together, what do you got? And this is even different. This ruling by Judge Ellis is different than this other case that went on today, that's going on today in another federal court, in the same courthouse in Illinois, about whether National Guard can be nationalized, commandeered by Donald Trump.
Oh no, it's all good, Running Warrior. We fam, let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what's on your mind. Let me know. Because that's a real thing. My thoughts of saying, hey, everything that's kind of coming in line or lining up is like, okay, well, it's in a position where he don't really have to check with nobody about nothing. You know, how Candyman said, you know, there's an amendment or there's a situation where he can actually do things at his discretion. Now, I'm not saying that it's not right or that he's breaking the law. I'm not saying he's not breaking the law. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying a lot of the stuff that we're hearing being done is kind of seeming like either it's falling along the lines for him not to have to check in because he's using his own abilities and rights, or trying to in a false way. I'm not saying he's doing anything legal, because it don't even seem like anything Trump is doing is legal at all, okay? But what I am saying is that any move he's making or trying to make, it seems like he's trying to make it fall up under him not having to explain, check in, or do anything. Now, I'm not saying that's not legal or not illegal, but I'm just saying the way that they're going about it is what I'm saying. The way they're going about it. And then he's targeting and saying Democratic cities, which to me, you got to understand too, with Democratic cities, when you're talking Democrat stuff like that, now you're looking at a deeper situation with Democrats, because Democrats wasn't just some people that just didn't have no money or nothing like that. Democrats are people that created that Obama effect, and a lot of other people, and a lot of other things. And a lot of things that the Democrats are doing, they're exposing themselves now. Because now they're letting us know what they've been standing for all of this time. And that's really a corruption place when you're going against the people. When you're going against the people. See, the people are going against Trump because of Epstein files. But they wanted Trump to bring back all that America stands for. All that America stands for. That's what they wanted him to bring back. But then when they see him saying, hey, we're going to release Epstein files, make me the president. We're going to release Epstein files, make me the president. We're going to do this, we're going to do that, make me the president. Once you see that not happening, and now everything is in question. Even the fact when he had bombed, who was that, Iran, Israel, he had bombed one of them because they was at war. And he was telling, check out them episodes. That's some months back. He had bombed 2 countries that was at war. He didn't check with nobody, didn't call nobody, didn't tell nobody. He just all of a sudden bombed a site that he heard had bombs because of 2 countries getting into it. And he told them to stop acting like kids and kill that. And he's saying that they didn't. And he stepped in. And instead of him shutting it down, he ended up bombing a bomb site without checking with government, Senate, House of Representatives, with whoever he had to check with. He didn't check with nobody. And nobody did nothing either. Let's make sure we point this out, fam. Let's make sure we point out what I'm saying. He didn't check with nobody to do anything he wanted to do. And nobody pressed him about nothing. And if they did, it wasn't to a point to where he felt pressed. He didn't feel like, oh my God, I just bombed somebody's site, but I ain't even check in with my own state. I ain't check in with my own house. I ain't check in with the White House. I ain't check in at all. I'm just doing me. I ain't check in though. That's what he did. And I don't know if they mad because he didn't check in first, or if they mad that he just did it, feeling as if he don't have to check in, because again, he's aligning things up to move at his discretion. Think about it. They went to Chicago. They told the police, the local police, yo, we gonna work with y'all, but we don't need y'all. Pam Bondi went in there and literally tried to remove the police. Come on now. So if everybody knows that she can do this at her own will, that the Trump administration can do that, can just remove the local police, that's a lie. They can't do that. So the biggest deal about the situation, family, is different. Okay, Ridgewater, I feel you said in Bridgeview, not Chicago. That's real, because even in Illinois, they put that on hold. They trying to put all that on hold. I feel what you're saying, but I will say this again. Trump and them is cooking right now. And they cooking up some type of recipe or a big meal to feed us a lot of BS. He cooking up some real BS to feed us. A real big meal. Because all the moves they making and the examples they creating and everything they doing with no regard to apologize or ask or feel as if they breaking the law, Constitution, amendments, whatever. Something is about to happen. Something coming. I'm going to let you soak that in. Tell your neighbor, tell your friend, something coming. I want to know what you said. I said something coming. I want to know what you think coming. I want to know what you think coming. I want to know what you think coming. Something coming. Charles said war. I want to know what you think coming. Tell me right now. Tell me right now in our house right now. Tell me right now in the house. Get in here and tell me in the house right now what you think coming right now. I want to know what's coming right now. And I mean, be real. Because let me tell you something. What you think is coming, somebody else might be thinking that too. Or what you think is coming, somebody else might even think about it. But you might be giving them an actual seed to plant to understand what's really real and what's going on. So again, I ask, what you think is coming? I want to know what you think coming. I want to know right now. Oh, we heard. We gonna be heard. We heard to understand. We heard to inform, understand, and be aware of what's coming. Tell me right now what's coming. We're not gonna sit back and act like we shocked. We don't get it. We don't under. I want to know what's coming. You here to tell somebody. You here to tell somebody. Tell them then. What's coming?
And mobilize into Illinois along with other National Guards people from California. Apparently, California National Guards people have been sent in to teach the Illinois National Guard how to police on the streets. So we need to continue to follow and report on all of these things. And these stories are so fast-moving. There's only so much we can do with videos on YouTube. We try to get them up as fast as we can. We can't get them up on Midas. We get them up on Legal AF, the YouTube channel, 10 videos a day. But sometimes the stories move so quickly, we got to use Legal AF Substack, and it's a live reporting feature. I do 2 lives a day, more if it's necessary. So when you want an update for a story like this between the videos, so to speak, come over to Legal AF Substack Live. And while you're there, if you want to support this kind of rapid response that we do all together on Midas Touch and Legal AF, think about becoming a paid member of the Legal AF community on Substack. It's about $7 a month. I promise you.
And shout out to Running Warrior. Shout out Theo Sacco. But shout out to Running Warrior, because that level you on right there, strength and honor, is different. And that's why we got to enlighten our family here. Because when we talking about what's deeper, that's just like if y'all can go watch that show Scandal. I'm going to say that again. You watch that show Scandal. Shout out to Boston in the building. My dog Jason Tatum coming back. L. Thomas is real. Ruth there with you. If you watch Scandal, they are literally breaking down why every move they made was deeper than the situation at hand. Let me say that again. Every move they made in Scandal had to do with the election. Whether they had to unalive someone, whether they had to discredit many people. In politics, that's what it is, discrediting. You get discredited, it's over. Your career is over, right? So it makes even more sense that, again, we have to go back to what's deeper. Elections, cause and effect, wars that change the hand of elections, the outcome of decision making. I mean, that's what this is. And that's a real thing, because Running Warrior says the governor of Illinois is a threat to him, to Trump. And that makes even more sense when you talk about a president doing something, because even in Scandal, you know, when they would be in a governor's in a different state trying to work on something, or putting some type of sculpture here, or building a new museum there, or building a hospital here, or giving land over there, or you got all these donors with all this big money meeting these people, funding these people campaign. It was all for the election. 9/11. After 9/11, they start throwing around the word terrorist. That 9/11 crash, Pentagon, that whole day, created a lifetime full of words of using the word terrorist. So I say again, all and everything that happens is happening to affect the election. It's happening to affect world leaders. It's happening to affect your decisions tomorrow. And not even you and me. People with the money. People that can move. People that can pay for your election. Think about it. Elon Musk. He paid for Donald Trump's election. And then all of a sudden Trump and Elon got into it and he kicked Elon out. As if he never needed him. This Elon Musk. So for him to sign up with Elon Musk campaign, he fund his whole campaign, pay for everything. Trump all of a sudden become president. Elon Musk want the same promises that Trump promised him before he became president, and all of a sudden he don't get that, and then all of a sudden he get kicked out. So shout out to you, Running Warrior, about saying that, because at the end of the day, that's a real thing about all and the moves being made has to do with elections. And people that stay in power gonna be in power, or that's changing the hands of power. And that's all based on who gonna do this, who they gonna make do that, who can be discredited. Don't be an accessory, man. Don't be an accessory. You understand her? Because now that's what that becomes. That becomes a situation where those people don't have no control over that, and now you in this situation. You understand that? That's what he did before. He used that man Elon Musk money for the candidacy, for the presidency, and then all of a sudden, Elon ain't nowhere no more. So let's get right, let's get real, let's understand what Running Warrior originally said about, okay, they moving these people around in Illinois and doing all this stuff because of what he has an issue with that particular person. Even in the movie Scandal, they had a situation with the Russian president. So all of a sudden, the lady is sitting there doing whatever the Russian president needs. So I urge y'all to watch Scandal, and I'm saying that because things be painted so seriously, they discredit you, and they put it right in front of your face. So when you talk about, they gonna build this new museum in Georgia, but they doing it because they need this governor of Georgia to vote for the president. Woo! You understand me? Scandal, and the reason why I'm saying Scandal right now, fam, because again, they really broke down how they operate in the White House, in the politic world. That is exactly how they operate. You understand? That's exactly how they operate. So every decision that's made is a deeper reason why they are doing it with the person they doing it with. So you know I'm with you, Running Warrior. I'm with you, fam. I appreciate you, fam, saying, hey, listen, hold up, Dealatofficial. You wrong on that one, so let me enlighten you. Yeah, enlighten me. Because even when you enlighten me, I got to come back and enlighten you. Because Scandal enlightens us all on what to do and how that what's being done. Because they literally in there showing you, every move they made was based off keeping the White House, keeping the presidency, staying in position for another term. For another term, another year, another term. I mean, the stuff they was doing was so scandalous, but it was all based off the next election. So it's funny when you're talking about Trump fighting to go in Chicago because he got a problem with the governor of Illinois. Or they fighting about going into Memphis, Tennessee because he got a problem with the Memphis. Oh, man, come on, let's talk about it. That is what's going on. And I appreciate that, Running Warrior. Yeah, I appreciate that. That's what's going on here. You have to always make sure the main thing is still understood always is that at the end of the day, a law needs to be passed, a new agenda needs to be set in stone, a standard needs to be created. And they can only do that by having things happen to persuade the people to make a decision. You know, I sit here, fam, and we all here. Don't nobody know what nobody going through, right? Don't nobody know nothing. But the goodness about it, the goodness about that is that when we do hear enlightenment, or we do read in between the lines and really get the situation clear, we really have to go tell somebody. You understand me? All right, we got to go tell somebody. And you got to understand, we are the people that's witnessing these political people fight for politics. And if they got to shut down the government, if they got to hit somebody from a distance, broad daylight in front of everybody, if they got to bring the National Guard in your city, they are willing to do whatever it takes for the presidency. That's the fight. That's the situation. Understand how far they're willing to go for the presidency. It ain't even about you and me. It's about the presidency. Put that on a shirt. Write it down. It ain't about you and me. It's about the presidency. Hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. We cooking.
I will overwhelm you with valuable content for myself and my other contributors. So until my next report, this is Michael Pocock.
Can't get your fill of Legal AF? Me neither. That's why we formed the Legal AF Substack. Every time we mention something in a hot take, whether it's a court filing or a oral argument, come over to the Substack. You'll find the court filing and the oral argument there, including a daily roundup that I do call, wait for it, Morning AF. What else? All the other contributors from Legal AF are there as well. We got some new reporting. We got interviews. We got ad-free versions of the podcast and hot takes. Where? Legal AF on Substack. Come over now to free subscribe.
See, the only difference between them nerdy locks, see, I'm not saying no, we can't say that's not true. It is true. Politics, even in scandal, you see it, politics works off this being discredited. The moment they make a rumor about you, you're discredited. Now they don't want you to do nothing. Now you have to start disrespecting and think about other positions. For Trump, the difference about him being discredited is that he don't care. He don't move at the beat of a discredited rumor. He doesn't move at the beat of anybody rumors, period. He's been in headlines and rumors ever since he looked like his little son. He been rumored. He been discredited. But the money kept him famous. You understand? That's the difference, nerdy locks. Real warrior. Strength and honor, fam. It's the money that kept Trump relevant to continue to live and keep going. Because he's been discredited 1,000 times. But the difference between Trump and a regular government official or somebody in the White House, they have morals, or they even have the identity to the people that they are a great person. Let me say that again. The people in the government in the White House have an identity and service to the people, to the public, that they are a great citizen, a great leader, and a great governor to believe in, to run that state. So it's a difference when we're talking about discrediting a governor and discrediting Trump. Because that government picture was painted that that man was an angel. With Trump, the picture was never painted that Trump is an angel. Trump ain't never been painted as an angel. Matter of fact, Trump ain't never been painted a certain picture that you would believe that he's safe, okay, great, good, nothing to worry about. Trump ain't had to go through that a government official would have to go through in the White House for being discredited. So I just wanted to make the point to you, nerdy locks, so you can understand that Trump has been discredited, gonna be discredited. He's being discredited right now. Epstein files, think about it. So it don't matter. You see the difference? If there was another government official, they would be calling for his position, job, and he'll be done. But the fact that Trump is a gangster from back in the day, it's a difference. And the difference is the money. You understand me? The difference between Trump being discredited and a government official in the White House being discredited is the money gonna bring the credit back. You being discredited, but you got all that money for your credit to come back. Shout out to Tone 357 with the $5 in a donation, in the super chat. I appreciate you, Tone. You know it's love, family. Always, family. You know it's real. But I'm just saying. That's the difference. And everything Trump doing, he don't care. They knew what they was doing when they put him in position. Another thing you're going to understand when you go watch Scandal. Nobody stumbles up on this. Nobody's voted in. Everyone is chosen. Everyone. You understand that? Everyone is chosen. And that's the situation right now that we're discussing. Make sure that we hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. Why? Because we cooking.
If you are sleeping in a position like this, you are wrecking your body and your breathing. Obstructive sleep apnea happens when you're up.
So friends, federal judges, one after another, are using the United States Constitution as a shield against Donald Trump's tyranny. Let's talk about that, because justice matters. Hey all, Glenn Kirshner here. So friends, yet another federal district court judge has used the rule of law and the Constitution to protect the American people from Donald Trump's military abuse and aggression. Judge April Perry just issued an order prohibiting Trump from deploying National Guard troops to not only the streets of Chicago, but the entire state of Illinois. Let's start with the new reporting. This from NBC News. Headline, Judge temporarily blocked Trump administration from sending National Guard troops to Chicago. And that article begins, a judge in Chicago on Thursday issued a temporary restraining order blocking the deployment of National Guard troops in Illinois, finding that the Trump administration's directive violates the Constitution and would only add fuel to the fire that the defendants, meaning Trump and company, themselves have started. In handing down her order, U.S. District Judge April Perry also ripped the Department of Homeland Security's factual accounts of crime its agents have been encountering recently, citing judicial findings in other cases over the past 2 days that the agency has been using unreliable evidence. Those accounts cast significant doubt on DHS's credibility on what is going on in the streets of Chicago. Judge Perry delivered her order after an hours-long hearing in which she appeared frustrated at times, as a lawyer for the Justice Department couldn't answer questions about exactly what the National Guard troops would be authorized to do. Judge Perry said she would issue a written decision Friday, elaborating on her reasoning for the restraining order. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker praised the ruling in a social media post. Quote, "Donald Trump is not a king, and his administration is not above the law. Today, the court confirmed what we all know. There is no credible evidence of a rebellion in the state of Illinois, and no place for the National Guard in the streets of American cities like Chicago," Pritzker wrote. Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson also lauded the judge's finding. Quote, "There is no rebellion in Chicago. There are just good people standing up for what's right," Johnson said in a statement. Quote, "The judge established that the Trump administration is unreliable. They lie, misrepresent, and put people in danger," he added. "We will continue to use all of the tools at our disposal to end the Trump administration's war on Chicago." And friends, here's just a little bit of what Judge April Perry's restraining order provides. The case is captioned, "State of Illinois, a sovereign state, and the city of Chicago, an Illinois municipal corporation, plaintiffs versus Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Pete Hegseth, and Daniel Driscoll, temporary restraining order." This court grants plaintiff's motion for a temporary restraining order, document 3, and orders as follows. Defendants, their officers, agents, assigns entered.
Big difference on what we're discussing in the chat right now and understanding what Trump's position is. When you used to ask about like, man, why is the United States behind on certain technologies and certain things that everybody else is on? They're like so many steps ahead. You go to Dubai, it looks amazing. It's some other places you go to, and it's like, why we don't look like that? But we the ones with all the money, all the artillery, all the military, all of this, all of that. Why don't we look like that? So when we're talking about, you know, him making the country billionaires or making no, he making himself rich. Why? Because Trump knows money. He has Trump Towers. He's realtors. That's all they know. So the stuff he's doing is in office just making money like a job. He's literally making it a job. As if how he's got money with everybody else. Making it like a job. I'm just gonna get money. We gonna finesse like he do the deals when he's selling houses, getting money when he on what was the TV show called Apprentice? He in there finessing people. I mean, you gotta understand, man, ain't nothing changed but the job and the position and the address and the toilet. That's it. That's it. That's the only thing. So that's what I mean by understanding the position, fam. Tone 357 says, family, we need to unite and fight for what's right. That means us, the people. Every race, creed, and color. Let's stand and unite. So it's like you gotta thank God for people like that understand that, because there's people that be like, I don't know what to do, I don't know what's going on, I don't know why we're here. I mean, but you got Tom right here saying we need to stand together, come together, and unite, because there's strength in numbers. So that's what we standing on. That's what we talking about. That's the realness of it. That's why we gotta have each other. Yeah, against Trump and administrations, against these people, man. Because at the end of the day, if we all don't get all these people and all these podcasts and all the supporters of each podcast to make these people support this, it can be done. But people gotta want to do it. But you never want to do it until it's your daughter, your son, your life on the line. And right now, I'm here to tell you, psst, 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 come closer. Psst. Your life been on the line. Matter of fact, your name and your life been drawn on the line like we do on paper. Yeah, it's been right there on the line. It's literally on the line. So now that our lives are on the line, it makes you feel even more better when people like Tone says, hey, it's going to have to start with us in this room. First, let's be the example. Us, here with my family, and no filters, being the example to stand on business. Because if we don't do that, what do we really have? If we don't do that, what are we really going? If we don't do that, what do we really stand for? If we don't do that, who do they know we are? Who are we if we don't do that? Who are we if we don't stand up? Who are we if we don't say something? Who are we if we don't tell somebody? Who are we? Hit that like button, subscribe, double tap that screen right now. Everybody in here right now, double tap that screen right now. Everybody right now. Double tap the screen. It ain't hard. I just did it. You see that? Just double tap the screen right now. It ain't hard. You see that? Yeah, everybody double tap the screen. The dog in the building, I appreciate your family pulling up. Double tap the screen right now, family. Become a member today. You know what it is and what it ain't. Let's go.
And all persons acting in concert with them are temporarily enjoined, prohibited, from ordering the federalization and deployment of the National Guard of the United States within Illinois. And then, friends, the DOJ lawyers, hapless as they are, said, Judge, please issue a stay. Pause your restraining order. Here's what the judge said. Request to stay or administratively stay the temporary restraining order is denied. Signed, April M. Perry, United States District Judge. So yes, friends, federal court judges are protecting we the people from Donald Trump's military aggression. And remember, it was just a matter of days ago that Donald Trump told our military leaders to use American cities as training grounds to fight wars. But the judges are telling Donald Trump, in substance, oh, hell no. And now our military leaders need to start doing the same. Telling Donald Trump, we will not obey your unlawful orders. We pledged our loyalty to the United States Constitution, not to a dictator, an autocrat, or a tyrant. And now, Judge April Perry has found that Trump's conduct violates the Constitution and only adds fuel to the fire that he, Trump, started. And Judge Perry's findings, now stand beside the findings of another federal judge, Judge Karen Immergut, a Trump-appointed judge, who ruled in connection with litigation involving Donald Trump's determination to send troops into Portland, Oregon. Judge Immergut ruled that Donald Trump is, quote, untethered to the facts. And the findings of those two judges stand beside the findings and ruling of Judge Charles Breyer, who ruled that Donald Trump violated the law and the Constitution by deploying troops to the streets of Los Angeles, California. So friends, in a very real sense, federal judges far and wide are using the United States Constitution to protect us all against a tyrannical president. Because justice matters. Friends, as always, please stay safe, please stay tuned, and I look forward to talking with you all again tomorrow.
You're going to freak out when you see the trailer for our new movie, Mercy. What the? Get me out of this chair.
Now turn to the other big story we're tracking today. National Guard troops are now on the ground in Memphis, but their presence is raising serious questions. Tonight, city and state leaders demanding answers from the governor, while community members voice concerns about transparency, legality, and the true purpose of their deployment. As National Guard troops begin to appear across parts of Memphis, including Riverside Drive in downtown, the city is filled with questions, conversations, and concerns voiced in English
erradicando la pobreza en nuestra comunidad.
And Spanish are echoing one core concern. What exactly is the National Guard doing here?
We wrote letters to the governor asking questions, but I haven't gotten a response. Have you gotten a response?
That uncertainty was the focus Thursday night at a town hall meeting at Tresvant High School in Fraser. State Representatives Gabby Salinas and Justin J. Pearson, along with Shelby County Commissioner Henry Brooks, gathered to address what they're calling a lack of transparency and constitutional overreach.
The letter that we sent to Governor Lee, unless I was looking up here, but I believe it's Article 3, Section 5 of our Constitution, explicitly says when the National Guard can be deployed, and it's for cases of invasion or rebellion.
Representative Salinas also criticized what she called a lack of meaningful investment in communities like Fraser. She pointed to the fact that the governor's school voucher program awarded only 11 vouchers in the area.
Those are numbers. That's the reality. That's the investment that we need in our community. We do not need people that are supposed to be our own government, that are supposed to be looking out for us, inciting violence and dividing us.
Commissioner Henry Brooks also raised concerns about the legality and logistics of the deployment.
We do not need to have an illegal occupation of Memphis, taking away the dignity and the humanity of its people, of us, of our people. We cannot have that.
And with criticism mounting, Memphis
Somebody making sense. Because that's exactly what they sound like. It has to make sense. We have to make it make sense. Because there's so much going on that you literally have to make it make sense, fam. Let's go.
City Council Chair Jay Ford Canale addressed the deployment Friday, offering more details on the Guard's mission and coordination with local law enforcement.
They have been very collaborative from day one. They've asked Chief Davis, what can we help with? And I believe in each group you will find an MPD officer with them, because the MPD will be the lead law enforcement in as far as the Guard goes. They truly want to be here to assist. So I do not foresee any issues. I think that they are here to be some kind of extra eyes and ears for MPD, but truly in a collaborative way.
And when asked how long the National Guard could remain in Memphis, Council Chairman Canale said the governor's response was simple, indefinitely, or in his words, as it takes. The Memphis Police Department says it has not requested that the troops be armed, but you may notice some of them carrying handguns. That's part of their uniform. You may also notice those same troops have a patch on their uniform that says MP.
Roof in the building, where you been, Roof?
We spoke with Army veteran Christopher West earlier this week, and he explained
It's your
what
friend,
that
how?
means for their operations here.
This is what kind of gets people on.
I know you told about no filters, did you? Was over there that long. I know you told about no filters, Roof. Let me hear it. Did you tell her?
Not really getting a good understanding. They are trained in law enforcement, and many of them in their civilian or sector careers, they are law enforcement officers. We are deputizing them under the marshal service, but we're limiting them in their ability to do their job.
Military police units are the ones tasked with enforcing the law on military bases all over the world. And we've been bringing you team coverage of the Memphis Safe Task Force for weeks now, and we will continue that coverage now that the National Guard is officially here. Stay with us throughout the evening right here on News Channel 3 for the latest at 5, 6, and 10. And you can find the latest updates as they happen on WREG.com and in the WREG mobile app.
Wow, that's crazy, and you know it, don't you, fam? That's different. So now we have it. We know that the National Guard is in Illinois. We know that the National Guard is in Memphis. And we know that we have family in here from Memphis and from Illinois. So let's get right what we're going to do. Because now you have to deal with understanding that, yeah, they there. It's happening. It's real. It's about to go down. And the thing is that to know that just like Memphis going through trials and tribulations, been up and down. Even the situation with Young Dolph, broad daylight. Then all of a sudden it's a war after that. Then everybody just knowing everybody dying on both sides. But ain't nobody stopping it.
Hits the streets above.
Ain't nobody stopping it though. You know what I'm saying? So now you're like, oh my God, now we got the National Guard in Memphis. What they gonna do? And if they don't do something, then all of a sudden we gonna keep hearing about that too, right? Nah, fam, that ain't making no sense. Hit that like button, subscribe. Don't never forget where you at.
Hey, you.
You're here with your boy Dealatofficial and my fam.
We know you love great
and
tunes.
Messias.
We also know you love great
filters, fam.
National Guard hits the streets of Memphis to support President Trump's ongoing effort to make the city safer. It's still not clear how many troops are on the ground, but guardsmen have been in multiple areas. WREG's Harrison is live downtown, where he saw guardsmen patrolling the streets early this morning.
Alex, good afternoon. Those guardsmen were walking down Riverside right near Tomley Park, and if we take video right now, I'll show you what I'm talking about. And if you look closely at our video, some of those guardsmen were armed with handguns. Just a few weeks ago, Alex, Governor Bill Lee told us that the guardsmen would only carry weapons if it was requested by local law enforcement. Memphis police deny making a request to arm the guard, saying the soldiers we spotted were military police carrying their standard duty weapons. MPD also maintains that the guardsmen are providing support and will not act as frontline police. The troop deployment still has a number of critics. Earlier this week, State Representatives Justin J. Pearson and Gabby Salinas sent Governor Lee a letter questioning whether it was legal to send the National Guard to Memphis. They point to the state constitution, which says the governor can only activate the militia for a rebellion or invasion, and only if it's approved by the General Assembly. We've reached out to the governor's office for comment and are still waiting for a response. And over the last several hours, Alex, we've seen a whole lot of activity from the Memphis Safe Task Force, and we will have more on that at 4. Reporting from downtown Memphis, Harrison Cloud, your news leader, WREG, News Channel 3.
Harrison, as always, thank you very much.
And right now, some 200 soldiers from the Texas National Guard are in the Chicago area. Both Illinois and Oregon have gone to court to try and block the Trump administration from sending National Guardsmen into their cities.
But President Trump said in a cabinet meeting he won't be backing down anytime soon. Reporter Ian Lee is in Chicago.
Hours before the court even began hearing arguments, National Guard troops had already entered this immigration processing facility near Chicago, sent there by the Trump administration to protect ICE operations. Democratic leaders have fought the deployment both in court and out.
We're at a moment in which we have a federal government that has not only trampled on our Constitution, but it has declared war on American cities, and particularly Chicago.
But at a cabinet meeting at the White House, President Trump said he'll continue to deploy troops to tackle crime.
We're restoring law and order in our country. We're restoring it here, but we're restoring it right now. We're in Memphis. We're going to Chicago. We're going to other cities. Many governors are asking us to.
More than 20 states signed a legal challenge in Oregon asking a court to block the National Guard from entering Portland. But troops are already in Memphis, where Attorney General Pam Bondi says they're supporting local law enforcement.
They were so happy to have us there. We've been making arrests left and right. So far, we made 562 arrests and seized 144 illegal guns.
Illinois' governor accused the administration of militarizing Chicago.
Do I also expect that they will push the law to its absolute limit, maybe even stepping over the line? Yes, and we will push back.
The state calls the deployment.
Let me tell you something about God protecting us, Ruth. Let me tell you something, Francis, about not being distracted. Let me tell you something about being ordained. Or let me tell you something about knowing, being proactive than reactive, being an understanding of that, and even in the same sense, knowing how we react to it. Knowing what we should be proactive on, reactive, and being active. Let me say that again. Active, reactive, proactive. That's the situation we're looking at now. Because when you say, God, keep us, Lord, help us, Jesus, when you're calling on the name Most High, Yahshua, these things, you need to understand. Faith without works is dead, right? So it makes you even wonder even more. Are we having the right works to believe that our faith is strong, that God will keep us in the midst of these problems? Shout out to you, Tom. Have a good evening, my brother. That's the realness. Do we have faith that God will keep us in the midst of these problems, knowing that we either proactive, reactive, or we are active in what we're doing to protect ourselves, make sure we straight, and make sure we not lacking on none that we in. Because these type of situations right here, I'm gonna tell you something right now. This type of situation right here, the way they coming, and right now they sitting in Illinois, they sitting in Memphis, they sitting in your city. Shout out Nene Love, Savage TV in the building, know what it is. I appreciate you pulling up, get comfy. That's a real thing. They in Illinois. They in Memphis. They finna be in your city next to you. You understand? This is real. And when one warrior is saying his concern is the poor people, many of them will not be able to handle what's going on in today's time. That's real. But even more, that's why we all got to stick together. That's the point. Because if he ain't got it, you got it. And if they don't know it, you know it. So tell somebody. Because when Trump and them pull up, they come to clean up. They come to sweep with the broom. And they got the dustpan too. And they got the dumpster to dump your ass in it. You want to be trash, act like trash, they're going to dump you right in that dumpster. You understand me? There's no way that you can say, we need help in Chicago. Everybody's dying. 25 people getting killed on Memorial Weekend for nothing because they bored. You telling me the police ain't helping? And if they ain't, why you got a problem with the National Guard coming? Clearly, y'all can't handle what need to be done there. If the local police can't handle the city I'm living in, which is St. Louis, woo. Just hearing that name, you know they better be able to handle it. You heard me? But if they couldn't, right? Yeah, they would need to call the National Guard, the Army, the Navy, the Marines. Yeah, Special Ops. They would need to call for this city, for this place, for my home. Yeah, for sure. That's the realness of it. So don't sit there, Chicago, and say, hey, we need help. All of this going on, this doing that. We need help, we need help, we need help. And now help is on the way. And now y'all saying, please don't come. Because if you come, you're going to make something else happen for real. Please don't do this. Please don't. Shut up. You ain't doing nothing about it but complaining about people being killed. You understand? That's a real. Let's understand what's real right now. Everybody, it's a real thing going on every day. No one knows what's happening in everybody's life. But I'm going to tell you something right now. We here. And all we got is each other. You hear me? As each and every day. How we show up for each other, how we are, and how we've been since day one. Everybody in here right now, no Nene Love Savvy TV. Send her love now. We don't know the situations we go through. We don't know what's right in front of our faces. But yet we all got something going on that overweigh us all. But Lord, we keep going. You understand me? Send Nene Love Savvy TV love now. We know no man know of the hour of the day. No man know of the situation. But Lord, we thank you. Because we're here and we together. We got to hold each other together. We got to keep each other up. We see somebody down, you got to get over there and you got to grab them. Even if they don't want to be grabbed, don't want to be held, don't want to be talked to, you got to get over there, you got to grab them, you got to tell them, hold on, my nigga, I got you. Tell somebody you got them. You hear me? Everybody tell Nene right now you got her. Everybody tell Nene right now you got her. I wait. Everybody tell you got her. We got to know it. We got to feel it. We got to see it. You understand me? Tell somebody, I got you. Even if they don't want to be got, you got to tell them we got you. We got you, Nene. You hear me? We don't know what it is, how it's going, how it's coming, Jesus. But we got you. Because we got to be able to lean on each other. We got to be able to tell somebody something. We are not here to hold on to all of this. You got to give it to somebody, Lord. That's the point that God be telling people. You got to give it to me. Because you can't handle it all. That's why we're here, Lord. That's why it's so many of us. That's why we all on the same page. We all bleed the same blood. You got to give it to somebody so they can handle it for you. You got to give it to fam. Lord, we thank you. Because when we don't open our mouth, we can't help Jesus. But we gotta open our mouths. We gotta tell somebody something so we can know that we gotta be here the more. We got kids. We gotta be here the more. We gotta open up our mouth so our people can help us. So we be here the more. We can't lose our minds. We can't lose ourselves. We gotta open up our mouths and tell somebody, hey, listen, what you need, I got you. What's going on, what you're doing, let's make it better. It's nothing but love for you. It's been nothing but love. Let's act like we know what's going on in here. It ain't nothing but free for you to hit that like button, subscribe, and double tap that screen and become a member. You hear me? We here to hold you together. You get a chance to become a member. You get a chance to become a member. You get a chance to become family. You get a chance to get support. When you're down, we can pick you up. When you're out, we can bring you in. When you're crying, we can wipe your tears. Lord, we're here for you. And we ain't afraid to say that. Let me tell you something. People are ashamed to tell somebody they here for you. People are ashamed to just tell somebody, lean on me. People are ashamed. But I tell you right now, hit that like button, subscribe, become a member. Dilla T ain't ashamed. Follow me. I tell you what to do. Let's go. Let's get right. I tell you, let's get right in here. We got to tell somebody, we got to help everybody. We got to tell somebody, I'm here for you. I got your back. We got you, Nene. You got to go through nothing. Open your mouth. We got you, Nene. Worry about this, that, and the other. We got you.
Here, a constitutional crisis. Ian Lee, CBS News, Chicago.
Sending National Guard troops into an American city is a tragic act. It means civil trust and persuasion have collapsed. Determining whether the president or local officials are responsible for the tragedy lies in the balance. But
well, when it comes to shrill political invective, the fur has been flying in all directions here this week. After Donald Trump sent the troops in, the state's Democratic Governor J.B. Pritzker decried it as an illegal invasion. Trump then in turn called for him to be locked up and for Chicago's Democratic mayor to be locked up. Then we got that really significant intervention in the courts yesterday, with the judge pointing out that there was no credible evidence of a rebellion in the state of Illinois and therefore no need for the troops. What we're seeing here across America is this epic struggle between presidential power and state sovereignty being played out in these big Democratic voting cities. And the message from the Democrats, that boast of the Democrats in this one now, is if Congress won't check this president's power, then Chicago will.
From Chicago to LA! From Chicago to LA! Immigrants are here to stay! Immigrants are here to stay!
In the fading light of a Chicago evening, more than 1,000 gathered.
Stand up and back!
This city, now the latest crucible for the deafening power struggles of Trump's America.
The National Guard does not belong in our city.
The trigger, a ramping up of immigration enforcement by ICE federal agents, and now Trump's mobilization of 500 Army Reserve National Guard to the area. Against the wishes of the city and state's Democratic leaders, just as in Los Angeles this summer. You're a veteran, how would you feel about seeing National Guard on the streets of Chicago?
They don't belong here. The military does not belong on the streets of American City.
Donald Trump has called Chicago a war zone.
it's gonna be a war zone and he keeps it up. What I mean by that is he won't get away with this and we're not gonna stop.
What's gonna happen next?
I'm afraid of what?
See, so let's get real. You got the people that's got money in Chicago like don't come. And then you got the people that don't got money for real in Chicago like don't come. But the people that's complaining or the people that's got the money and the people that don't got the money are the ones that's dying. So here we have a political confusion about money, power, and the election. Because right now in Chicago, there are two entities being tugged and pulled for the election, for power, okay? And corruption. You got a governor, the black dude and the white dude talking about don't come. You got Trump like we coming. And then they got the people saying they had a whole hearing talking to this black guy, governor guy, about how he is using their money for corruption to keep people in jail. Literally. They said that man got a 20-man fleet security guards, more than the president, for him and his wife. All in Chicago? But don't nobody want no help. Why you got 25 fleet security guards walking with you and your wife together and separately, but you don't want the National Guard to come to your city? We here to read in between the lines. We don't care about no headlines. We see the headlines and then we read in between the lines. That's a duck, fam. That man got 25 security guards every day, living and breathing, when he wake up and go to sleep, just to monitor the city that he so loved to govern. And you don't want the National Guard there? You telling me you comfortable with moving better than the president? And you in a little place called Chicago? This man run the world. And you got 25 to 30 in your fleet of security. And you don't want no security to come help you. You don't want the National Guard to come change that? You telling me you fine with 25 men walking with your wife every day for her safety? That's the city you living in? That's the life y'all living? That makes no sense whatsoever. Corruption is being done right in front of our face. That man getting money allegedly, probably, keeping people under, keeping crime going. Because he's okay with 25 fleet for security in his own city. Eugene said they also don't tell you how they destroy our companies and how they profit off of you and put the companies in other countries, not the United States. Now, if you see that, you see what family just did for you, you should have been a member. You should subscribe. You should be hitting that like button. You should be thanking God for that information, because I bet you didn't know that. Because that drives it even more about what they doing, the way they doing it, and why they doing it the way they doing it. I want you to know you're living in a time where the good is looked at as bad and bad is looked at as good. And everybody is okay with it. It's so terrible. Theo was saying earlier, everybody was saying earlier, it is so bad out here and going on all at the same time that you don't even get a time to just sit, process, and make a decision. Woo! That's how much and how bad is all going on at one time. That you literally can't sit, process, and make a decision about your future in this world. Because at this point, every day is something new. And we still ain't get over the old from the day before. I mean, they know what they're doing on how they're going to deteriorate, deplete, decrease the population. You and me. And by the way, every time when we in here talking and fam be talking, y'all be talking like they like we talking about some other people this finna happen to. Let me say that again. Y'all be talking like this finna happen to some other people and not us. What are you doing? What are you thinking? Even when I'm talking about this real-ish, y'all comments be commenting like this finna happen to some people in another earth. This your president. Yeah, this your world. Your country. Yeah, you. Yeah, you. Yeah. You talking about nobody? This ain't happening to nobody else. This me and you. Like what? That ain't even got nothing to do with the war in the Middle East, Israel. People talking about fake Israels and the real Israel. Oh man, we ain't even touched the surface of what's really going on out here. Going on out here and around here. This is very... But the word of God say my people perish from lack of knowledge. And when you're talking about perishing, being unalived, from lacking knowledge, from just knowing what you should need to know, you just not here no more because you didn't open up your ears. You didn't put on your head. You didn't put on your brain. You didn't put on your ears. You didn't put on your eyes. You just gone because you didn't do nothing about knowledge. And you had a one-way free ticket to like, comment, subscribe, become a member, hit the notification bell with who? Dilla T, my family, here at No Filters. And now all of a sudden, you are unalived from lacking knowledge because you didn't become a member or you didn't subscribe. I mean, come on. He said his people will perish from lack of knowledge. And here you have a one-way ticket to knowledge. And yet you choose not to use it. These are the people that's playing with us.
It happened to us. That's why we're here. We need to stop it now before something really bad happens. Make some noise, Chicago!
And with that, they began marching en masse towards Chicago's Trump Tower.
Our city! Our city!
Chicago is a city with a very strong history of protest, so a response like this to troop deployment was always on the cards. And just as inevitable, perhaps, was it, that Trump would be targeting a city like this in the first place.
So you need help badly. Chicago desperately needs help. We don't want to lose.
He routinely portrays this Democratic stronghold as chaotic and crime-ridden despite falling crime levels.
We're not going to allow this kind of savagery to destroy our society anymore.
But once again, as elsewhere, his troop deployment here has, for the time being, been blocked by the courts. A judge ruled yesterday it would only add fuel to the fire. They pulled back outside the city, Trump thwarted for now. We've now got this ruling from the court blocking this deployment. What do you make of it?
Well, it's the court's right decision, and Judge Perry, I think, is truly seeing sort of this deployment for what it is, a deployment with no justification.
Jesse Fuentes is a Democratic councillor on the northwest side of Chicago.
You are going to be placed under arrest.
Do you have a sign? You need some warfare.
She was in the spotlight recently after being briefly handcuffed by federal immigration agents. She'd been confronting them in hospital over the apparent detention of an injured man.
Do you have a sign for this warfare?
When it comes to a city like Chicago, do you think Trump's going to accept this ruling and just walk away?
No, absolutely not. Look, Donald Trump is someone that wants to dominate, dictate, and have control. Trump has articulated that we are a war zone, but the only war zone environment that we see is the one that the federal agents are creating.
In Chicago, federal immigration raids now come packaged in.
I mean, I get what she's saying. When you living in it, you don't even know what you in. Let me say that again. She's saying like we not in the war zone because we living in it, so they don't feel like they're in the war zone. But let somebody pull up and hear 1,000 bullets go off, and they're gonna be like, oh man, that's nothing. We used to that. See, when you're used to it, you don't know nothing. You understand? And they used to that. We used to it in St. Louis. People used to it in Memphis. People used to it in California. Like, come on, man. What we talking about? But we used to it. So it's nothing to hear them bullets fly off. You right. I don't want nobody come National Guard come in here in St. Louis. Because we like, why? We straight. Ain't nobody doing this. Ain't nobody doing that. We straight. But it's a difference when you talking about the police don't want to go against the people. The police going against the people and they don't even want to pull up on the block on projects. See, that's a difference. In Chicago, police don't even want to pull up over here, over there, over there, over here. They letting people govern themselves. When your police don't want to pull up in your city, on your block, to police you and your family, oh, you need the National Guard, player. Stupid.
Cinematic slaughter. This one featuring Black Hawk helicopters and SWAT teams. Jesse Fuentes says the impact on Chicago's immigrant communities has been profound. Even some of those born in the US,
Bronx,
San Marino, from Mexico, fear getting caught up in raids as activists claim the law's shifting in favor of racial profiling.
You're a US citizen? Yes, and I am very much worried that I can get taken away and I might not make it home. If my grandma saw this, she would have an absolute meltdown. This is not the dream that she went to chase. This isn't it.
When she came to America as an immigrant?
Yes. Yeah. Sorry. Excuse me. Yeah, it's definitely hard. But we got to keep pushing. We got to keep pushing because really nobody else is looking out for us. We just got to keep going.
No Trump, no ICE, no troops.
The administration vows to escalate yet further immigration enforcement here. With illegal border crossings vastly down, the policy does have many an advocate.
Do you think it's right to let people in illegally? That's the question.
But when it comes to troops on the streets, amidst a hurricane of political feuding, the Windy City has prevailed. Chicago has defied Donald Trump's will, but they know they face a president seemingly determined to test the limits of his power in the ever-fraught battle over modern America's defining identity.
We're America's beverage companies, making American products with American workers in America's hometowns, creating good-paying jobs, the kind that require only a strong work ethic, because we believe in the promise of America and the people who make it great.
Well, football season is upon us once again. And Jim Onder has already delivered a highlight reel for the ages. Onder.
We got a breaking news story, folks. We got a brand new temporary restraining order coming out of Illinois, issued by Judge Sarah Ellis to stop journalists and members of the clergy and First Amendment protesters from being hit with the full lethality of riot control weaponry. When I give you the list of the things that the temporary restraining order has now stopped the Trump administration from using on the streets of Illinois, it will make your head pop off when you realize that this is the level of military firepower being used against American citizens, many of them journalists and members of the clergy who are doing their job on the streets. And I got the videos to prove it. Let's get to the temporary restraining order. Temporary restraining order issued just moments ago. Let me read it to you. This was a suit that was brought on the 6th of October by the Chicago Headline Club, various members of the press and free press in Chicago, and members of the clergy and protesters against them being pepper sprayed, pepper balled, shot with searing munition, tear gassed after identifying themselves or wearing the cloth of the clergy as they're protesting legitimately in DC. See, they're mixing everything up because the military and the federalized National Guard are not ready to handle civil liberties. They have not been trained on constitutional due process, equal protection, and other civil liberties rights. So they're mixing everybody together. If you're in a crowd, if you're a journalist, if you're a member of the clergy, if you're a protester, you're all the same. Pepper spray doesn't care what you're wearing. A pepper ball to the face or the car of it doesn't care as it's being launched. The human being should care on the other side, but they're not properly trained for this. This is why we're fighting so hard to keep nationalized and federalized troops out of American cities, especially the blue ones. We just had an oral argument today in the Ninth Circuit. Two Trump judges, and it's not, I said Trump judges, and it's not looking good for keeping these troops out. But I think if anything, this order demonstrates to you why it's so important for federal judges to protect us from our own president. Here's what
that's the situation that we need to get to right there. Protecting us from our own president. I'm so glad he said that. That's the basic point of tonight and the situation. Protecting us from our own president. Because that's the situation is. We got to protect ourselves. We need each other to protect us. You understand? That's the point. And if you don't get that at this point, you're going to be out here by yourself. Just like you know that it's every man for theyself. That's the world we living in. That's the times we in. That's the situation. Here on out. Every man for theyself. I swear, when we come in here Monday through Friday, 9 p.m., you better start coming in here saying, every man for theyself. You understand? That's the situation. That's how it's coming. That's what's going. This tonight is ridiculous. National Guard in Memphis, National Guard in Illinois right now as we speak. So whoever's there, strength and honor. And we praying for you, fam. As always, though, you know what the level is. It don't stop, won't stop, can't stop. Don't need to stop. This Monday through Friday, this 9 p.m. You need it. I need it. It's real. It's love. It's fam. It don't go no other way. You already know all the fam pulled up. It ain't nothing wrong with you becoming a member because when you pull up, you got to be comfortable. You got to get you something to eat. You got to get you something to smoke. You got to get you something if that's what you do. You hear me? Because you see the titles and you see the family. You in here with your boy Dilla T and my fam. And this is No Filters. Good night, family. Have an amazing weekend. Each and every one of you all be safe. It's truly a pleasure, my honor to be in you all's presence. Thank you so much. Good night, family.